The following program has been generously funded by the Patterson Foundation.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of This Book is Cool. Today, we have a fun and funny book for you. It's called The Infamous Ratsos, and it was written by Kara LaReau and illustrated by Matt Myers. We have a special guest today to talk to us about why she thinks this book is cool. With us today, we have Dr. Lisa Merritt. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how you doing, Beth?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today to talk about this book.
Excellent.
Can you tell us one of the reasons why you think The Infamous Ratsos is such a cool book?
Well, I think the book is pretty funny. You know, the Louie and Ralphie Ratso, they keep trying to be like their dad. But, you know, he's this tough guy, they think. But then every time they try to show that they're doing tough things, then they kind of make a mistake and they mess up.
They do.
It's like, you know, it's using animals to show like we're all human in a way. Like none of us are perfect.
That's true. And every time they mess up, they end up doing a good deed for somebody else. It just made me laugh when I think the very first thing in the book is they see a hat and they think, oh, we're going to be tough and we're going to steal that hat. But then they end up helping this little boy because a bully had stolen his hat, and they get the hat back for the mouse that lost it. And so that's their first good deed. And then every time they try to do something that they think will make them be tough guys, they end up doing something that is helping somebody else.
The universe gives us chances to redeem ourselves all the time.
I like that. So have you ever experienced a good deed? Has anybody ever done a good deed for you?
Oh, certainly. You know, it's so nice when people are kind to you and helpful to you, and just simple things like holding the door open or helping you out with your packages, or, you know, if you lose something. I mean, I remember one time I lost my pocketbook and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And somebody had gotten a hold of it and put it in a place that was safe. And they had it and everything was in it. And I was so grateful because that could have turned out to be really terrible. But we always have choices, opportunities to make choices. And it's up to us to try to decide if we're going to make a good choice or if we're not going to make a good choice. And we get to live with the consequence of that choice.
I love that the Infamous Ratsos were able to share all of the good deeds that they did with their dad. And what you just said about making choices, the dad then was able to change how he was in the world. You know, he realized that he had been hurt and that he was, you know, being a tough guy just because he didn't feel right about himself.
He was unhappy. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. I see that in my work too. A lot of people in pain who have suffered emotional pain, they're very cranky and it's uncomfortable, and you have to be understanding and patient with them.
Doing a good deed for them probably helps them to heal in some way.
It does. It very much does. It's all about love.
I think it is all about love. Now, I mentioned that you're a doctor, a medical doctor, and I know that you have a practice in Sarasota, and you help people every single day. How does that make you feel inside?
It's the most wonderful thing, especially because my work as a physiatrist is putting people back together after they've had terrible trauma in their lives, or a bad accident, or a really terrible illness, or like now with the COVID-19 recovering from this terrible disorder. And there's nothing more satisfying than using all your skills and all your years of studying so that you can help somebody to be better. and they are so grateful and they're so kind, and you're just doing your work, but it really can make a big difference for someone who otherwise might not do as well if I, as a doctor, don't do what I need to do to pick the right medicines and put together the right therapy, and encourage them and just keep reminding them that it's going to get better. Little by little, it does get better.
I like that. It does get better.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a doctor?
Most of my life, I did. Even when I was young, I used to work in the nurse's office when I was in elementary school during lunchtime. So I used to like to take splinters out of people's fingers and put Band-Aids on and write in everything in the little notebook of what happened in the accidents and stuff. I love knowing everything in the body. I love studying. I love learning about what's going on now, even with the pandemic. I think that there's always an opportunity to learn and use that learning to help others. And if I have that skill and that gift, I'm happy to be able to use it.
I think you use it very well, and I know hundreds and hundreds of people that you have helped.
Thank you.
Now, becoming a doctor, it's my understanding that you would have to do an awful lot of reading to become a doctor. So do you have any advice to us on how we can become better readers?
Oh, I love to see young people reading. It's nothing better than developing your brain. It's like anything. You just get better at it with practice. I used to hide under the covers at night with my flashlight to finish books. We didn't have all this electronic stuff. And I think I'm really grateful that my parents encouraged me to read, that you had a library card. You can read virtually now. You can read on your phone. Even short stories, comic books, anything, but practicing looking at written words and letting your brain process that and understand the meaning is a really important skill. And you have to get really good at it. Like now when I have new patients come into the hospital, sometimes I have to read charts literally like this big very quickly, get to all the important information, summarize it, so I know what happened, what the immediate problems are, what didn't go good, what did they have a reaction to, what tests did they have done, what operations did they have done, and then what am I going to do next to put it back together. And then I have to make a report. So reading and writing are both very important. And it starts with just simple things like keeping a journal, writing letters, writing little notes to people who maybe give you gifts and things like that. It makes a difference. And over time, even if you don't feel you're a strong reader, the more you practice at it, the better you get at it. And I've helped a lot of young people to read, and I used to do reading programs, and it brings me no greater joy than to see that light turn on. Because with reading, it opens an entire world for you, an imaginary world, a real world, a scientific world. You can analyze things for yourself and get information. And it's really, really important because to go through college and medical school, you have to read an awful lot of things. So the better you get at doing it, the less difficult it is and the more efficient you are. And then you have time to go outside and play and ride your bike and do the other stuff you like to do, which is what I do as well. In fact, I read while I do the elliptical. I read my medical journals while I do my exercise program.
Wow.
And then I can combine the two things together.
I think they call that multitasking. That's wonderful. Well, Dr. Lisa, thank you for being with us today. I know that you're very busy, so that you would take the time to be with us is very meaningful, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's absolutely my pleasure. And just remember, reading is fundamental. It's fun. It's fundamental.
It's great advice. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
I want to share an illustration from the book with you. So you can see here on the cover that we have Louie and Ralphie Ratso, and they're posing like they're really tough. Have you ever tried to act really tough? Well, then inside, this is a picture of right after they did one of their first good deeds. They were trying to be naughty because they thought that's what their dad would want. So they stole a hat. But the hat had been stolen from this little mouse. His name is Tiny Crawly. And when they took the hat from the bully who had stolen it, they gave it back to Tiny Crawly, and Tiny Crawly thought the two of them were heroes. So that was the first time that they tried to be tough, but they ended up doing a good deed. And this book is full of all kinds of adventures that the boys have trying to be tough, and every single time they end up doing a kindness for somebody else. The book, The Infamous Ratsos, has some wonderful words for our word bank. The first word is the word grumbles. Grumbles. Grumbles means to complain or protest about something, usually in a lower tone. So grumbling sometimes. Grumble. Our next word is the word distracts. Distracts. Distracts means to prevent somebody from giving their full attention to something. Distracts. Our next word is the word rescued. Rescued. To save someone or something from danger or a distressing situation. The infamous Ratsos rescued Tiny Crawly's hat from the bully. Our next word is the word draped. Draped. Draped means to cover something with cloth or fabric. Our next word for the word bank is the word knuckles. Knuckles. Knuckles are the joints on your fingers. And our last word to add to our word bank today is the word thoughtful. Thoughtful. Thoughtful means showing consideration for others. Thoughtful. Our activity today is a good one. One that might inspire you to do some good deeds in the community. We'd like you to create a list of good deeds that you might be able to do for other people. You can see on this list, we have let others go first. We have take out the garbage, pick up litter, compliment a friend, bake a treat for someone, talk to a new friend, read to a sibling, and clean up without being asked. Those are just 8 ideas for good deeds. You might have other ideas that you'd like to add to a list of good deeds that you could do for your family, your friends, or your community. If you write down your ideas, we hope you'll send them to us. You can send them to connect@grade-level-reading-suncoast.net. We hope that you'll come up with your own episode of This Book is Cool. Just select a book that's very meaningful to you, and then give us several reasons why that book is cool. You could also include some words for our word bank, and perhaps an idea for an activity that goes along with the book. When we do a good deed for someone else, very often it makes us feel better than it makes the other person feel. I hope you'll take some time to think about the good deeds you could do for others. And then, even more importantly, act upon those ideas. Select something that you can do that will make someone else feel better. It's a great way to spend your time. Another great way to spend your time is by reading. Remember, reading is the key to succeeding. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you'll join us again very soon for another episode of This Book is Cool. Bye-bye.